Robert, in this video we'll be talking about Antoine Semenyo shock links to Manchester United, as well as Ruben Amorim staying at Manchester United, an update on Harry Maguire, and some other stories as well in there. But we'll start off by talking about the Ruben Amorim stuff. So Manchester United's hierarchy, they're convinced that the squad are behind Ruben Amorim after positive conversations between the players and club bosses. Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox have spoken to members of the squad, including Bruno Fernandes and the leadership group. The conversations were not formal and were not designed to sound out players on Amorim's future. The feedback was positive. So obviously we've seen Mason Mount. He spoke in the media after the game against Sunderland, and he said that the players are 100% behind Ruben Amorim. Amorim said that you could see by the players' performances against Sunderland that they were fully behind him. But yeah, listen, I think the leadership group, which includes Tom Heaton, Mazraoui, I think Maguire, Dallow's in there as well. So there are all like established senior members in this Manchester United squad, and the fact that they back Ruben Amorim can kind of see there's no divide in the squad, and there's a team fully committed behind Ruben Amorim now. Again, I agree you have to give it time. Yes, the results and the performances haven't been good, but how many times are we going to sack the same manager before getting the right one? And when will we know it's the right one? I think you have to give him time to kind of embed what he's trying to do. We did the same thing with Ten Hag. Yes, it didn't work out, but I think you have to give him this full season at least to see what you can do. And I think the players, the manager, and obviously the recruitment team and the players, the hierarchy are all behind Ruben Amorim, which is a positive. I think he will eventually stay at United. Again, the club back him, and ultimately, hopefully, he can succeed anyway, because that's the most important thing. You want to see him succeed. Yes, the performances have not been there, but again, I think time, hopefully he will get there, and he has been backed by the board. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Harry Maguire is expected to leave United on a free in the summer of 2026. Manchester United not looking to extend his contract at the moment. And then today we had Harry Maguire wants to stay at United, but is likely to have to take a hefty pay cut in order to do so. However, the Red Devils' minority owners, Ineos, keen to reduce the wage bill, is highly unlikely he will be offered the same salary as he now earns of around 190k per week. And that's been the talk about Maguire, like the wages. Obviously, we gave him that extra year on his extension. His contract will be running out in 2026. I think for me, what I would do with Maguire, unfortunately, I think it's time to let him go. I think a player who's only getting older, he's going to be 33 by the time I think his contract expires. I don't think he's an alright player. He's a good option to have in the squad, but I don't think he's a player United should be keeping around at 33, and I don't think he'd be willing to take a pay cut. Obviously, he talked about how much he loves playing for the club and how much a privilege it is, but I think with Maguire we can definitely upgrade in our squad, and that's not being harsh. I think it's the reality of the thing. Maguire is a decent player, but he's just not good enough to be in this Manchester United squad going forward, I don't think. So yeah, that's the latest on Maguire. I mean, I think he will leave, but you could well see him stay at Manchester United beyond his contract. I think he has had good performances, and he has been a good central centre-back at times for United, and someone who's pretty valued by Ruben Amorim. But I think going forward, he shouldn't be someone who should be starting for Manchester United. Now, the next thing, Manchester United monitoring 33-year-old Marc-Andre Ter Stegen from Barcelona ahead of the January transfer window. Now, Ter Stegen, obviously someone who is not really playing, was not playing at all really for Barcelona, with Chesney, their starting goalkeeper, and is looking out of Barcelona now. He's had injury problems. I've seen a lot of people have mixed opinions on this. I think with Ter Stegen, you certainly get experience, which is something that Sonny Lomans could need. I think as a player coming into the league, 23, you could need that, someone who's had that experience to kind of mentor him. I think if you do get rid of Onana and Bayindir, I think bringing in Ter Stegen probably won't be the worst idea. I think he's at his time, he's a very good goalkeeper, and I think he can definitely offer a job as a second choice, but also to help mentor Sonny Lomans. Now, Rashford. Barcelona considering ways to retain Rashford beyond his current loan from United without triggering the 26.2 million option to buy clause. If Rashford continues to perform well, the clubs hope to keep him in Spain, potentially by negotiating a lower transfer fee or another loan. However, it's unclear whether United would be open to renegotiating or agreeing to another temporary move at this stage. Now, I think with Rashford, and like all the other loan players at Manchester United, the expectation and the aim has to be to let them go on a permanent basis. And you look at Rashford, you look at Sancho, Anthony's gone on a permanent, but you want to get them going on a permanent deal. I think with Rashford, he's literally said himself that his head's not at Manchester United and he prefers to move So why not give him that chance to move to a different club? And Barcelona, he's doing well there. I watched him in the Champions League. He got that assist against PSG. Like, he's looking confident. He scored at the weekend. He's a very, very good player, and I think he's doing well at Barca. And ultimately, that's the correct move for him at this stage in his career. I think it's just Barcelona being tight, trying to get out of the paying the 26.2 million, which, in all honesty, Rashford would probably. I think Rashford is worth more than that, if we're being honest. But yeah, listen, you don't want another temporary move. You want it to be a permanent deal where he can get playing football on a regular, consistent basis for a club, whether that's in the Champions League or whether that is Barcelona or whether that's a different club. But I think Barca are just trying to get out of this move, but they definitely do want to keep Rashford. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, Antoine Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo held talks with Tottenham and Manchester United before opting to sign a new deal at Bournemouth. It is believed both clubs continue to monitor Semenyo's incredible ride from the Championship to the Premier League. Bournemouth believe Semenyo is worth around north of 75 million, so that's probably going up to 90 million. I think Semenyo's had a great, wicked start to the season. I've watched him a few times this season and he's looked fantastic. I think he's got 6 goals so far in the Premier League, which is only second to Haaland, who has 9. And a player who's been on the constant rise under Iraola, and he's looked absolutely fantastic. Now, again, he's going to be one of those players like who you get from the Premier League that's worth an extortionate amount of money. I think with the Cunha and the Burmo, yes, they were 60, 70 million pounds, but they were pretty established and they were pretty good players. Now, Semenyo is another one. He's at that age as well. There'll be a lot of clubs interested in him in the Premier League, but also abroad. I would absolutely love him at United. I think he has the profile, the attitude, but most importantly, the quality to fit this team. Now, one the concern would be if Ruben Amorim is the manager next summer, would he be able to fit into the system? As a 10, he's more of a natural winger, can hit on the counter attack, but also has a lot of quality. We've seen it with wingers like Rashford, Garnacho. They didn't really fit into the system. You look at Ahmad, who was traditionally a right winger, but obviously can play as a 10, but he was converted to a right wing back. It's all about finding players for the system. But in terms of quality-wise, Semenyo is definitely one of the best players for me and has been in the Premier League so far this season. I think talent-wise, ability-wise, he's absolutely class, and I think he offers and would offer a lot to Manchester United, and there's no concern about getting him time to settle in. He would be a top Premier League experience, but I think going into next summer, our target should be focusing on that midfield. Yes, Semenyo is a great player, and there's other great players out there, but fixing that midfield is absolutely vital. Casemiro's been struggling. Ugarte's got to go. I think Casemiro's got to go as well, and I think you really have to focus on developing and bringing through players in that midfield, because Bruno could go as well. And you look at having a midfield of Casemiro, Ugarte, both of them need to go. You potentially bring in Belieber. You also have Kobe Mainoo, who's hopefully someone who should be around. Maybe some players coming in from the academy as well. But yeah, that's the latest news.